Dead as a Doornail, Book 6 of the Stan Kraychik Mysteries. Author, Grant Michaels. Publisher, St. Martin's Press, New York. Narrator, Eric Aust. Chapter 15. Thoughts of shampoo and dirty work lead me to XUXUX. Since Angie, the hairdresser, was so close to Tim Shignasi, she'll certainly know something about the fatal accident at the SCCA site. But today is not the day I find out XUXUX is closed up tight. I peer through the window and see all the signs of a small startup salon. 2 styling stations face one of the side walls. The one that's completely covered with high-grade industrial mirror, the kind used by major ballet companies against the back wall of the shop, is a shampoo sink and a curtained doorway to a storage area. Against the other side wall are a sit-down dryer, a radiant heat dryer, and a receptionist desk. But the place is dark inside. No sign of life. Then I see a sign taped on the inside of the door. Family emergency. Well, it's time for my second breakfast anyway, so I head over to Members Only Cafe. With that sexy espresso puller and his charming smile, it was fertile terrain on my first visit yesterday. Maybe if I keep my cap and sunglasses on, the guy will forget he ever saw my real face and he'll find me appealing again, or maybe somebody else will. The cafe is bustling with festive energy. The topic du jour is Cartier rings and Patek Philippe watches. 2 of the boys are showing off their bounty, like young princes who just received regal baubles from dear mama to mark the real arrival of springtime. Myself, when I landed the cash for my lover's death, I did the same thing. But in reverse, which seems to be my usual mode of operation. I bought those very same trinkets for my parents, and they didn't have the foggiest notion of their value, intrinsic or otherwise. I looked for the espresso boy from yesterday, but he's not around. I discreetly ask a young guy behind the counter about him. He smiles knowingly, then replies in a voice loud enough to reach around the block. "You looking for Chip?" I nod bashfully. "Chip's not here," he says with his built-in megaphone. "Did you want some coffee?" "Oh, sure," I say. Meanwhile, all conversation in the cafe has come to a halt. They all know it now. I'm there for Chip. I'm just another damsel smitten by his charm and his fastidiously wrought body. To break the silence, I casually ask if anyone has seen Angie, the hairdresser. No one has. The espresso machine begins pumping its elixir, and the cafe chatter resumes. "Is yours 18 or 24 karat?" "I don't know. Is it 24 too soft?" "Honey, there's nothing soft about 24. Since there's no place to sit in there, I take my coffee to one of the small outdoor tables. Besides, the weather is beautiful, and it's actually much quieter out on the sidewalk. No sooner do I sit than I sense someone standing beside me. His cologne is expensive, probably Cartier or Patek Philippe. "Taking the waters, doll." It's Myron, and he's got his dog, Betty, with him. The pooch sniffs at my hand, and I pull away. Myron, I'm not kidding, is wearing pink pedal pushers. He asks, "What did you do to your hair?" I needed to change. "There's change, and there's utter ruin, doll face. That's going to take months to grow out." "I've got time," I say. I decide not to reject Myron's endearment today. Maybe it will foster trust. His, not mine. He asks, "Did the police talk to you yet? They questioned me yesterday, and it was awful, almost humiliating." "You must have seen Lieutenant Branco." "I think that was his name," says Myron. "For some reason, I couldn't think clearly. The room felt too small." "That's the guy," I say. "Then after all those personal questions," said Myron, "came the ultimate indignity. The police want me to take Betty into their lab for a hair sample." "The dog?" Betty's tail thumps in reply. "Imagine," says Myron. "But we haven't submitted yet." He pats Betty's head. "Have we, baby?" Betty whimpers and wags his tail. Myron says, "I'm conferring with my lawyer to see if it's privacy violation." He plays with the dog's ears a moment, then says to me, "Have they talked to you yet?" "I found Tim, remember?" "That's right," says Myron. "And you own the house, too." "Who told you that?" Myron shrugs. His look just like mine, all girly. "You did," he says. "I don't think so." Myron says, "Well, somebody did." Who? I say. Oh, dollface, who knows? In this neighborhood you hear so much you can't keep track of it all. Or any of it. I say, were you around when the accident happened at the SCCA Recreational Center? Huh? Says Myron. A guy on the construction site was killed and the company blamed the accident on Timmy? When? Says Myron. Last fall. I don't think so, he says doubtfully. Oh, it happened all right, but the charge didn't hold. Myron huffs noisily. I meant that I don't recall being in town when it happened. But you must know about it. Oh, dollface. Forgive and forget. That's my motto. What's there for you to forgive? Nothing, says Myron. So I just forget. It's even simpler that way. Too bad about your hair, though. I explained that I wanted to erase my similarity between myself and Timmy. You certainly did that, dollface. Well, I'm seeing someone inside. He heads toward the cafe entrance. I say, Chip's not there. Myron turns back. Who said I'm seeing him? You were mooning over him yesterday. Mooning, says Myron, showing keen interest, gaping actually. And you weren't, he says. Me? I say, I'm here for the coffee. Myron looks skeptical. If Chip's not here, he says, then he's probably pumping up that bubble butt of his. Myron swallows noisily, and I am appalled to share yet another trait with him. This time, an appreciation of Chip's Callipygian gifts. As offhandedly as I can, I ask him, do you know where Chip's gym is? Myron pouts his lips, which gives his face a piggy look, and he moves his jaw as though he's ruminating my question. His gym, he says. Why, I believe he goes to that old church on Albany Street. His gym is at the church? It's not a church now, dollface. Look, he says, would you like a bit of advice from your aunt? How am I supposed to answer that? I guess you don't, he says, but I'm going to tell you anyway, for your own good. I wouldn't plan a trousseau for Chip. Not that you don't have a certain appeal, which I'm sure some people appreciate, but don't waste it on Chip. He likes to charm people. It's a compulsion with him, but it doesn't mean anything. I'll remember that. I mean it, dollface. Chip doesn't ride your bus. Another shared image. I had said roughly the same thing to Angie yesterday about Tim Chignassi, and now here's Myron saying it to me about Chip. What must I do to deliver myself from becoming this man? Oblivious to the threat he creates to my sanity, Myron says, Chip is complete unto himself. He isn't interested in men or women. He doesn't want anybody. The only attraction he feels is for himself. The only person he really enjoys is himself. You seem to know a lot about him, Myron says. I know things about Chip nobody else does. Thanks for the lowdown, I say. I'll keep it in mind. Dollface, I'm just trying to keep you from getting hurt. My coffee is done, so I get up. Partly I want to get away from Myron, and partly, dare I admit it, I want to find Chip's gym. I want to see this self-sufficient muscle monster in action for myself. He couldn't be as awful as Myron says. I think Myron is jealous that I have a better chance of a date with Chip than he does. That's what Auntie's concern is really about. I wave goodbye to Myron and start walking away, but he and Betty are suddenly walking alongside me. I feel a warm, wet tongue lick my hand. It's actually kind of pleasant, but only kind of. I know there are many, many teeth where the soft tongue comes from. Myron assures me that he's not following me, that I'm free to go, chase after Chip all on my own, and good luck. Don't say I didn't warn you. I just want some company, he says. I have a big day ahead, and I'm feeling a little anxious. Trouble, I say? No, he said quickly. Actually, I'm going to be receiving something I've been wanting for a long time. And if I can talk to someone beforehand, well, it might help calm me down. Put me in a better frame of mind to savor that moment. He pauses on the sidewalk. Oh, I like that, he says. Savor the rare moments of grace in an indifferent universe. Isn't that nice? Sounds like a fortune cookie, I say. Oh, dollface, he says. Here, I thought you were secretly a nice person, which is so rare these days. Not like the 50s, I say. We start walking again and pass by XUXUX, which is still closed up. Oh, too bad, says Myron. I wanted to pay her for trimming Betty's hair the other day. Betty, I say. You take Betty to a hairdresser. It's not a disease, says Myron. Hey, that's my line, bitch. Myron says, Portuguese water dogs have hair, not fur. That's why they don't shed. It's almost like human hair. But humans do shed, I say, especially if their hair is damaged by dyeing or perming, like Selena Hightower's. Why should Myron believe me? He's basically bald. I ask him how well he knows Angie. He replies, How well does anyone know their hairdresser? He looks at the sign on the door and laughs. Family emergency, he says. I shouldn't wonder. What do you mean? Dollface, were you born yesterday? It's a fag hag's duty to profess love eternal to her chosen idol. Now that Tamantha is dead, of course Angie would say something like that. They all think that way. The lady friends of the fairies. They consider themselves our salvation. It's how they've always relieved their own guilt in the name of mercy, tolerance, and forgiveness. And now they use family as well. I never thought of it like that. Myron tries to look wise. Maybe you've stayed a little too nice for your own good? Some would disagree. Myron says, if you're looking for people who were close to Tammy, I mean really, truly, intimately close, then you'd do better with Thorne. Then the police are on the right track after all. The police, says Myron. I tell him the police are looking for him now. For Thorne? I nod. They think he killed Tamantha? I don't know, I say. Thorne claims he loved him. Really loved him, so who knows? Yes, says Myron. They're pure love. Frankly, I suspect the only thing pure about it was that they played priest and acolyte together, and you say the police are looking for him? I nod. He chuckles. Do you know what's happened? He says. No, I say. Now Myron laughs out loud, and Betty begins squealing and whimpering as if he wants to join in. They got the wrong person, says Myron. Again! You mean you know who killed Timmy? No, says Myron. But really, the police ought to know better by now. They've been down this path once before. He's quite agitated now, and Betty is growling softly, getting revved up to a bark. If the police suspect Thorne, they should go after Selena, his wife. Dollface! Those two are a matched pair when it comes to crime. You mean Selena is an accomplice? Accomplice, says Myron. She's the bad egg. Did you know that Thorne was in jail once? You mean the drug charge, I say. That's right, Dollface. Well, get this, he says. Thorne didn't do anything wrong. Selena was the one dealing drugs and she got caught. Stupid thing. Thorne just happened to be in the house. But when the case came to trial, who was the defendant? Thorne, and he took the rap for it too. Thorne went to jail for his wife. That's right. But didn't the police report show? Dollface, do you think the police really care? Someone breaks the law, they find someone who looks guilty, and justice is served. End of story. But if you want the truth, you have to talk to the people in the neighborhood, the ones who bought drugs from Selena. Then you'll hear another whole story. The real one. How could that happen, I say? Dollface, are you really as naive as you act? Myron has a way of asking questions I can't answer. He says, is Thorne at the police station now? I don't know. But why are you so concerned? I thought you and Thorne were enemies. Enemies? He says, I never said that, he splutters. I never used those words. Don't you go misquoting me now. We are friendly rivals, nothing more. Myron checks his watch. Oh, Dollface, now look what you've done. We've been jabbering away and I've got to get ready. Well, I suppose our paths must part. I to my appointment and you to your assignation. Just don't forget what I told you about Chip. Myron's face is smug as if he knows it's doomed between me and the body beautiful Chip. Hell, even I know it's doomed. In fact, why am I even going to find him? Is it just my DNA in action? I see a firm, round butt that's fairly screaming for attention, and thither I go. Whatever the reason, I head off down the sidewalk. Then I hear Myron call out to me. Just one more thing, Dollface. I turn. If you do find Chip, would you give him a message for me? Sure, Myron. Just tell him what time it is. Do you want me to tell Chip the time? That's right, he says. He'll understand. At least now I have a real reason to find the guy. Myron and Betty cross the street, and I watch them walk off together with the dog on a leash. Myron seems different, and it's not the pink pedal pushers. He holds himself straight and doesn't waddle so much. Maybe it's Betty. Maybe Betty is the pal who makes Myron feel manly.
Gay Mysteries audiobooks. I think it is easy to hate a label, but a face humanizes the word. So this effort is twofold: to offer comfort to those like myself that your world didn't end because you don't fit into the view of acceptable society on both sides, and in hopes of helping those with family that are LGBTQ, that it doesn't mean we are aliens from the child they once knew. Reassure them so they can maybe be supportive at the same time, being true to their values.